Hello and welcome back. I'm Joseph Hoffman, and in this lesson, we're going to take a look at how to practice using Hanon's original finger power exercises from his famous collection, The Virtuoso Pianist. In past lessons, I've taught you how to play these finger power exercises using a simplified version, but today, you're leveling up to the full original version. Let's come to the piano to get started. So let's look at the original version for Hanon number 1. Tell me what you notice that's different from the simplified Hanon we've learned in the past. You might notice we're all 16th notes now because we're going to be playing this faster. What do you notice about the clefs? It's a little bit rare to have both hands in bass staff. So can you find on your piano where both hands will be starting? Play this note, left hand finger 5. If this is my middle C, then this is 2 octaves down on low C, and where does the right hand start? On bass C. Remember before our hands were 2 octaves apart, but now they're 1 octave apart, both starting in the bass staff. Now, does it stay in bass staff forever? Well, as we go higher and higher, you'll notice we switch back to treble staff. So this seems like a big jump, but you'll see if we're here in bass staff, this is just continuing up. Now we're on A in treble staff to help us keep going higher and higher. And that's the other main difference from before, is now instead of just going up 1 octave, you'll notice we'll go up a whole octave. Here we make it to C, but we're going to keep going even higher. So we start down here, and then I'm going to skip, 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 skip. We get to here, and we're going to keep going even higher. And now I'm here, and then on the next page, we start descending. And we go back down 2 octaves, and then you'll notice here a repeat sign. So instead of playing that last note, I'm going to start right here, it goes right back to the start, and we do the whole thing again. Play through the whole thing twice before we finally end. So you get lots of exercise from this now. A couple measures to be extra careful on are always the measure right before we get to the ending and the measure right before we turn around and start going to descending. Remember, right here we get, and then students always want to play a C there, but remember the last note here is D, da 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 da, D, and then it turns around. So be extra careful on this measure as well. Quick piano posture review. Remember to make sure your bench is far enough away that your arms can comfortably rest with your elbow slightly in front of your body. You want your forearm mostly parallel with the floor, wrist parallel with the floor, and really flexible. Sit with a nice tall back. Remember to use arm weight as you play. You want your arm, shoulder, whole body working together to play. Also remember as you play to keep this first joint in a properly curved shape, not bent backwards like this. It needs to be just firm enough to keep that correct shape as you play each finger. And then another quick reminder to keep your pinky playing near the tip, not flat. Near the tip. Now let's talk about the wrist for a second. It's so important as you play to keep your wrist flexible. In fact, put your hands on the piano keys. Let your fingers just rest on the piano keys, and once you just kind of wobble your wrists around for a little bit. See how I'm doing this? Your wrists should feel always like they're floating and flexible as you play. And in fact, as you play Hanon, I want you to think of your wrist kind of floating through the notes. Make sure your wrist is never locked too low or too high. It should always be moving, in motion. Notice how as I step up, my wrist kind of glides to the side. It's going to always be in motion, never locked. Notice, here's the wrong way. See how my wrist is locked into one position? If I practice that way for long enough, it's going to start to hurt after a while. You want your wrist to move with the notes. Doesn't have to be a big motion, but never locked in place. So let's talk about some ways that you can practice Hanon to get the most out of your practice time. This isn't repertoire. This is just to get faster, stronger, better fingers for playing your repertoire. So we want to make the most of this time. I encourage you to practice it differently every day. For example, maybe one day you could use a staccato touch, keeping your fingers close to the keys and working on a really flexible up wrist. You could also play one measure staccato, then one measure legato. Alternate back and forth. Another thing you could do is practice with different dynamics. Maybe one time you'll play it pianissimo. Then maybe 2 measures forte, 2 measures pianissimo again. Then 2 measures forte. You can play with the dynamics. And then we have the rhythms I taught you earlier. Long, short, 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 long. Play through the whole thing once that way, and then reverse it. So now it's short, long, short, long, short, long, short, long. When you do those rhythms, try to make the shorts very short. Pa-pa, pa-pa, pa-pa. So it sounds very jagged. And always remember to reverse it. Long, short, long, short, long. First long, short, and then short, long. Another rhythm I like to do is fast fours. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And try to make the fast fours super fast. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then during that pause, that's a chance to make sure your wrist is relaxed. When you hold that note at the end of the fast fours, maybe wiggle around a little bit, make sure your wrists are really loose. Your fingers are firm, but also relaxed. Relax, 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 relax. Now another way I like to practice Hanon that I don't think I've showed you before is transposing it. Like let's say we wanted to transpose it to the key of D major. Remember D major, we have an F sharp and a C sharp. So now when we play our Hanon, we'll start on D, and instead of playing Fs and Cs, we'll play F sharp and C sharp. This is a whole new kind of challenge for you. And then finally, finger power would not be complete without the metronome. I'm going to start with it at 100 and play 2 notes per click. That might be a good place for you to start. Making sure you've got a good flexible wrist. Make sure your finger joints are all in the right shape. You're playing on the pinky tip, not flat. And once you feel like you have it mastered at that speed, 100, 2 notes per click, gradually speed it up. Speed it up, speed it up. Here's 160, 2 notes per click. That would be a good accomplishment. And when you're playing with the metronome, listen very carefully to yourself that all the notes are smooth and even and precise sounding. You don't want it to sound sloppy at all, like this. Hear how uneven that is? Make sure there's no blur between the notes as well. Hear how mushy it sounds like this? So you can see I'm holding down multiple keys at the same time. And of course, I'm exaggerating. But sometimes when I see students play, they don't realize that there's a little overlap between the notes. When you go to the next finger, to get the most clean sound, you always have to let go in time. Otherwise, it starts to sound really mushy. Hear how clean that sounds? So listen to your own sound and make sure it's clean, even, and smooth. Now, once you have it mastered at 160 two notes per click, keep going even faster, all the way up to 200 two notes per click. That's my challenge to you. See if you can get it all the way to 200 two notes per click. For Hanon number 1, all the way through number 10. That will be great exercise for your fingers. So I would suggest you choose one exercise every day to focus on. Maybe you'll spend a few days on number 1, and then you can move on to number 2. Some people like to practice a few of them all in the same day. There's so many different ways to practice Hanon. So I encourage you to try out different ways, trying the different rhythms, trying the metronome. But again, your final goal is to get 200 on the metronome, 2 notes per click for number 1 all the way through number 10. Let's take a quick peek at Hanon number 2. Same idea, both hands are starting in the bass staff. And don't forget to be careful of the fingerings, especially on this second note of each measure. Remember, the right hand is playing a finger 2, while the left hand is playing a finger 3. May feel a little bit out of sync, but that's on purpose and part of the exercise that Hanon is giving. We go up 2 full octaves. Again, watch out for this measure right before you start descending on the next page. You'll get the best benefit out of Hanon if you follow the fingerings carefully while you're using all those tools that I showed you. Now it's time for you to practice on your own. I encourage you to make practicing Hanon a daily part of your piano practice routine. If you follow the tools I showed you, practicing Hanon can make your fingers faster, more accurate, and better prepared to play the more challenging, advanced repertoire that you want to play in the future. Thanks for watching and learning with me, and happy practicing. Hey, I got a good one for you. Okay, let's hear it. What kind of candy does a sidewalk eat? I don't know. What? Pavement. Okay, how about this one? What do you call a pile of kittens? I don't know. What? A meountain. Or how about a pyramid? That was catastrophically silly right there.